Musk made it clear that he wanted to one day make it possible for people to visit and settle on Mars. And before 2014, SpaceX had already started working on the Raptor rocket engine, the one used in Starship. At the time, Musk expressed his ambition that SpaceX would carry out human-crewed missions to Mars in the 2020s to 2030s and is pushing on with his dream. However, there have been a few setbacks. And on the other hand, SpaceX completed multiple tests on the same Super Heavy rocket prototype before returning it to its South Texas Starship factory for the 6th time this year. So in this video, we will discuss everything on the Starship booster being returned. What's their current plan? And will they ever achieve the goal of transporting people to Mars? Welcome to Smarter Tech, and without further ado, let's get started! Since its initial factory departure in March 2022, Super Heavy Booster 7 has been caught in an endless cycle of testing, repairs, and retests. While testing and development moved faster from 2019 to mid-2021, SpaceX was doing better in 2022. Between early April and late November, Booster 7 conducted more than 24 tests, including 6 static fires, breaking Starship test records. In a matter of hours, SpaceX rolled a more recent Super Heavy prototype to the launch pad after finishing a Starship booster test that broke all previous records. Almost 6 weeks after starting the static fire test campaign for Super Heavy Booster 7, SpaceX has made history by simultaneously lighting 7 Raptor engines. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk's plans were confirmed in real time just hours later when the company moved a second Super Heavy prototype, Booster 8, from the facility to the launch pad and joined Booster 7. According to Musk, those rockets will shortly switch positions, ensuring no time is lost as SpaceX continually prepares for Starship's initial orbital launch attempts. On August 9 and 11, Booster 7 began the most crucial phase of its flight certification procedure with 2 back-to-back static fires, each lighting one of the 20 Raptor engines installed. Both were successful, and 2 weeks later, SpaceX sent the Super Heavy back to the launch pad after bringing B7 back to its Boca Chica, Texas factory and replacing all 33 engines. 3 of Booster 7's 33 Raptors were to be ignited on August 31st by SpaceX. The test with 2 engines was largely successful because just one engine failed to ignite while the others did not. 2 of the ignition-free spin prime tests that SpaceX carried out over the following 2 weeks appeared to spin up all 33 engines without igniting. Last but not the least, by performing spin prime tests with 7 engines on September 16 and another one, albeit with a slightly different set of engines, on September 19th, SpaceX gave a clue about its next major goal. After the second spin prime with the 7 engines, SpaceX refueled Booster 7, followed the same steps, and fired the same 7 engines for around 5 seconds. Musk later suggested that the test went well and that there were no evident problems. It also broke the record for the maximum thrust produced by a vehicle tested. It also set a new record for the most Raptors that have ever been ignited concurrently on a single prototype. And for a brief period, the 7 improved Raptor V2 engines might have generated more than 1,600 tons of thrust, comparable to the output of 2 Falcon 9 boosters. Super Heavy is approximately 9 meters broad and 69 meters tall. It will be the most potent liquid rocket booster ever tested once, as 20 of its 33 engines operate at maximum force. A top NASA official presumably provided the biggest near-term update of the year on October 31st. He stated that subject to the result of several critical tests, the first orbital test flight of the Starship could happen as early as December 22nd. But more than 5 weeks later, SpaceX has made little headway toward those objectives and has failed to conduct the 2 most important tests. Still, some progress has been made, though it's hard to say how much without official information. SpaceX was conducting a brief set of cautious propellant loading experiments with Booster 7 and Ship 24, which were loaded on October 20th as of Curiosic's briefing. Ship 24 was taken away after 3 more partial full-stack tests in the first week of November. Aside from the steps SpaceX took afterwards, we need to learn more about how those propellant loading tests turned out. The fate of Ship 24 is a different story, but Super Heavy B7 looked great after full-stack testing. On November 14th, Booster 7 broke a record by doing a static fire with 14 engines. This was twice as many as its previous record of 7 engines, making it likely one of the most powerful rockets ever. Musk just said that the test was a success. Before we continue, hold up, if you're watching us for the first time, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can enjoy our future videos while getting updated. Getting back to the topic, well, even though bad weather was a factor, Booster 7 wouldn't have its next test for another 15 days. After an unsuccessful test on November 28th, SpaceX followed Booster 7's record-setting static fire of 14 engines with a 13-second test of 11 Raptors on November 29th. Before turning on the engines, SpaceX loaded Booster 7 with about 2,800 tons of liquid oxygen propellant in less than 90 minutes. This was a partial wet dress rehearsal, as the methane tank was almost empty. Musk called it a little more progress towards Mars, and SpaceX posted a picture of the static fire on Twitter. However, the test results, which were meant to test autogenous pressurization, were kept mostly secret. After the lengthy test, 2 of Booster 7's 33 Raptor engines were removed, significantly reducing the situation's certainty. Then on December 2nd, Booster 7 was taken off the one and only orbital launch mount at Starbase, and it was rolled back to the high bay assembly area of the plant. In the past, SpaceX has only returned Booster 7 to the manufacturer to rectify damage or add missing components. No one can speculate why Booster 7 made the 6th appearance without official information. The most conceivable scenario is that SpaceX returned the super heavy rocket to the manufacturing facility to complete the heat shield protecting the engines. There are 20 missing panels for each outer Raptor engine, so the shield still needs to be finished. But there's a good reason why those panels were never put back up. Any replacements would have to be changed so that the impromptu system put in place to stop the conditions that led to Booster 7's first explosion from happening again can still be used for future static fire tests. Even so, it's unclear why SpaceX has to refit those panels now in preparation for the impending 33-engine static fires and trial runs on Booster 7, since they weren't required for the 11-engine and 14-engine static fires and a dozen additional tests without fire. There is precedence for Booster 7 returning to the launch site as soon as next week, depending on why it is back at the plant. Alternatively, it might take SpaceX 6 weeks to return the rocket to the launch site if significant maintenance or repairs are required. There is still little chance that Starship will be prepared for its first orbital launch this year because of the full wet dress rehearsals. The 33-engine static fires that could stand between Booster 7 and flight readiness will also be riskier and harder than any other testing the prototype has hitherto successfully passed. In the meantime, Booster 8 will start basic proof testing at SpaceX South Texas orbital launch site after Booster 7 goes back to the factory. Booster 8 took about 6 months to put together, which is why it took so long. SpaceX didn't waste any time getting ready for the switch. 7 hours after Booster 7's 7-engine static fire, they moved Booster 8 to the pad. If things go better than they did with B7, B8 might be done with proof testing and ready to go back to the factory for Raptor installation by the time B7's upgrades are done. This would be a very smooth transition if it worked out that way. So, will that be the case? And do you think Elon Musk will ever achieve his goal of transporting people to Mars? Comment down below. Also, please leave a like and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos. Goodbye!